Thank you for subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Your support motivates me to create and upload more videos every day. A super powerhouse who had supposedly fallen thousands of years ago in legend unexpectedly appeared on Xiao Yan's body. Previously, Xiao Yan clenched his teeth tightly. The violent fluctuations within his mind caused waves of dizziness to surge through his soul. Suddenly, high in the sky, purifying demonic lotus flame lightly pointed a finger toward the spatial passage. In an instant beneath the grand array, a milky white magma flame pillar shot upward, directly blasting the spatial passage into pieces. The figure of Old Soul Demon appeared before the collapsing spatial tunnel, his expression dark and gloomy. It was clear that purifying demonic lotus flame had no intention of sparing a single person. Immediately his gaze shifted toward the Pill Tower ancestor, and he said in a deep voice, "How about joining forces? He has already taken control of the heaven-refining grand array. Even if you fight him alone, you are no match for him." Hearing this, the Pill Tower ancestor no longer bothered to argue and responded at once. "The heaven-refining grand array is divided into heaven array and earth array. I will handle the heaven array. You take care of the earth array." He then turned around and shouted sharply, "Xiao Chen, the little girl of the ancient Void Dragon tribe, and Gunan Hai. The four of us will deal with the heaven array." Under such circumstances, there was no time for hesitation. The spatial passage had already been erased by purifying demonic lotus flame. If they did not join forces to resist, everyone present would be refined into fire slaves. Seeing the actions of the Pill Tower ancestor and the others, purifying demonic lotus flame let out a cold snort. With a wave of his hand, the massive array covering heaven and earth began to rotate slowly. The energy between heaven and earth instantly became extremely violent. Heaven refining ancient array. Refine heaven into slaves. As the shout echoed, the entire world began to tremble violently. A ring of milky white light rapidly spread from the edge of the array toward the center, eventually converging into 100-jang-tall milky white pillar of light. Refine. Purifying demonic lotus flame suddenly pointed downward. Two pillars of light instantly shot toward the crowd. Attack. Facing such terrifying power, the Pill Tower ancestor and the others unleashed everything they had, combining their strength to crash violently into the pillars of light. Ha ha ha. A futile struggle. In the sky, purifying demonic lotus flame's eyes flashed red as he slammed both hands downward. Boom! All defensive barriers were shattered in an instant. The two pillars of light streaked across the sky at terrifying speed, finally colliding violently with the Pill Tower ancestor and the others in mid-air. Watching the flames spread outward from the point of collision, extending several thousand jang, purifying demonic lotus flame threw his head back and laughed wildly. "Now, no one can stop me anymore." Moments later, he gradually calmed down, then suddenly lowered his head. His gaze filled with doubt as he looked toward the point where the light pillars had collided. He could sense many auras still present there. They're still alive. How is that possible? As the flames dissipated, a faint light barrier appeared in purifying demonic lotus flame's sight. Inside the barrier were Xiao Yan, the Pill Tower ancestor, and everyone else. Although they looked somewhat disheveled, none of them were seriously injured. At this moment, not only purifying demonic lotus flame, but even the Pill Tower ancestor and the others stared at the light barrier in shock, because it had blocked an impact wave powerful enough to annihilate a 6-star Daosheng. The group looked at one another, clearly having no idea what had just happened. "Brother Xiao Yan?" Just as everyone was still bewildered, Shuner suddenly cried out in alarm. They quickly turned around, only to see that Xiao Yan appeared to have fallen into a coma. Yet his body was releasing a faint halo of light. The halo slowly condensed, eventually transforming into a somewhat illusory human figure, purifying demonic lotus flame. When the figure appeared, everyone was greatly shocked and instinctively retreated, because that figure's appearance was identical to the purifying demonic lotus flame in the sky. Not purifying demonic lotus flame. The Pill Tower ancestor stared intently at the figure outside Xiao Yan's body, and suddenly realized something, crying out in shock. "What?" Hearing this, nearly everyone felt their scalps explode with numbness. That legendary super powerhouse, who had supposedly fallen thousands of years ago, how could he suddenly appear on Xiao Yan? What is going on? It may be because of that ancient map. Yao Lao frowned, suddenly recalling something. If there is any connection between Xiao Yan and the purifying demonic lotus saint, it can only be that ancient map. While everyone was still in shock, Xiao Yan, possessed by the purifying demonic lotus saint, slowly raised his head. His white pupils fixed firmly on the purifying demonic lotus flame in the sky. "Purifying demonic lotus saint, how could you still be alive?" The moment the light barrier dispersed, purifying demonic lotus flame locked onto Xiao Yan at once. Seeing the figure formed on Xiao Yan's body, a massive storm surged in his heart as he roared in disbelief. Thousands of years of sealing, yet it still failed to erase your ferocious will. Xiao Yan stared calmly at purifying demonic lotus flame. A voice sometimes distant and sometimes near slowly emerged from his mouth, echoing across heaven and earth, carrying an invisible pressure that caused the world itself to tremble. You are merely a remnant image. Do you still believe yourself to be the purifying demonic lotus saint who once commanded the world? Purifying demonic lotus flame glared at Xiao Yan with deep resentment. His hand seals suddenly changed, and the two massive flame arrays on either side began rotating once more. This grand array was personally arranged by you. Today, I will let you experience its power. Refine. With a furious shout, two pillars of light containing destructive power burst forth from the heaven and earth arrays, shooting toward Xiao Yan like bolts of lightning. Watching the light pillars streak across the sky like meteors, Xiao Yan merely raised his finger and gently pointed. Freeze. As the calm voice fell, the two pillars of light instantly solidified in mid-air. The heaven-refining ancient array was created by me. When it comes to understanding it, you are inferior to me. Xiao Yan smiled faintly, his gaze falling upon the pale-faced purifying demonic lotus flame as he spoke softly. Damn it! Purifying demonic lotus flame cursed in fury, but immediately afterward he discovered in horror that his control over the grand array was rapidly slipping away. The two great flame arrays trembled violently as layers of milky white flames shot forth from within. Purifying demonic lotus flame had completely lost control of the heaven-refining ancient array. Purifying demonic lotus saint. I'll fight you to the end. Demonic flame annihilates the world. Purifying demonic lotus flame's body rapidly expanded, and with a deafening boom, it transformed into boundless flames that engulfed the entire space. At that moment, all energy within the space was instantly vaporized under the extreme temperature. Just then, Xiao Yan waved his sleeve. The heaven and earth arrays emitted a brilliant glow, slowly twisting and finally forming a spatial passage. Leave now. Once purifying demonic lotus flame detonates, none of you will survive. Hearing this, ecstasy surged wildly in everyone's hearts. Gunanhai grabbed Shuner's jade hand and instantly rushed toward the spatial passage. Yao Lao and the others glanced at Xiao Yan, who still stood calmly with his hands behind his back. Gritting their teeth, they hurriedly followed. Watching Xiao Yan's figure grow more distant, a strange feeling surged within Juner's heart. She could sense that Xiao Yan needed her. Elder, after we return, please convey a message to father. This time, allow Shuna to be willful for him once. Shuna bit her red lips tightly and suddenly broke free from Gunanhai's grasp. Brother Xiao Yan, this time, Shuna will stay with you